Hey guys, welcome to the Film Section podcast. I don't know what episode this is. We're not keeping track anymore. But this is our number ones episode, wrapping up our top 5 favorite movies.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Our number ones. Hold on. So let's turn my volume up just a wee bit.
Yeah, you're good.
There we go. So we're number ones. All right, so what are our number ones? Mine is we'll get to it, but you said Chris was going first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, my number one is the Shawshank Redemption.
Good choice.
Great
Yeah.
movie.
This is definitely, like, there are a few movies that I can do this with, but this is definitely one of the movies that I can put on if it's on TV, turn on at any point, I'll just watch it. Don't care where it's at, I'll watch it. Stellar performances by everyone involved. I know people like to use the Morgan Freeman narration.
There comes the time in every man's life.
Fun. Yeah. Andy Dufresne.
I'd like to tell you he fought off the sissies, but he did not.
It's
or whatever their names were.
It's really funny because in the book, Morgan Freeman's character is like this like super Irish guy. And then in the movie, it's just like this one little throwaway line that Morgan Freeman mentions that he's Irish.
Like, I think that says a lot about his acting, though, that he can
Oh,
pull that
yeah.
off, and nobody questions it
Oh
for a
yeah,
second.
no one cared. It was like, it's Morgan Freeman. He can be Irish. No one cares. Guy from Thin Lizzy was Irish, wasn't he?
It's like, you sure are Irish.
But yeah, this is probably, I'm just gonna say, probably the best Stephen King adaptation that's ever been made.
That's a very valid. I would be hard pressed to find someone that would disagree that that's the best Stephen King movie. Didn't it? I mean, it won a couple of Oscars, like multiple.
Yeah.
Didn't it?
Yeah. Directed by Frank Darabont, who has done a lot of things that I like. Pretty much everything he's done, I think I like. Honestly, like,
you can argue he's the best the best Stephen King adapter too.
What else?
Film, I mean, you know.
The Mist is pretty fucking good too.
The Mist is great despite its ending. The Green Mile, he did that too.
I actually like the ending of The Mist, like the movie, more than the book. Because I love how just like the ending of the movie is so like tragic.
Oh yeah.
The ending of the movie is more like a Stephen King novel than the actual Stephen King. I mean, it's technically a short story. It's kind of a long short story, but the movie did that. The movie did that actually adds a little bit more. Sorry, I'm not trying to get off the the topic of the Shawshank Redemption.
We do this every time.
All the time.
It's totally fine.
I love that T-shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Man, there's so many things in this movie. Like, it's just tough. Like, everything's good. William Sadler is pretty great.
All the side acting.
Even, I don't see this guy a lot anymore. The guy that played like the young dude that came in like the middle of all their sentences, the guy with like the Elvis haircut.
Yeah, like the dude with the slick back hair.
Yeah, I don't.
He was It's so random. I saw that guy because he's older now, obviously, but he was
Gil Bellows. That's his name.
Okay, have you ever seen The Weatherman with Nicolas Cage?
Yes.
Where he plays like the pedophile teacher who Nick Cage finds out and he beats the living shit out of him on his front porch. In that movie. I just recently watched that movie, so. But yeah, all the acting, like you said, William Sadler, the dude who plays the I do not know this guy's name, but the older guy who has like the difficulty, like with the idea of leaving prison.
Oh,
He wanted to stay there so bad he puts like a knife over. Yeah.
You're talking about the old man, right?
Yeah, the guy who puts like the knife to William Sadler's throat because he doesn't want to leave.
I think his name is. I think that's Jason Robards, and his character is Brooks. Pretty tragic. Pretty fucking tragic for that guy too, man. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
He'd been in jail so long he doesn't know how to live in the outside world, and he'd been in jail so long also the outside world changed.
Yeah.
And he felt like it just passed him by, and the only thing he had was the birds and his friends in jail. Like there's nobody. Yeah. He's so old. Like there's nobody on the outside. Like,
well, when you're that age too, like
right?
Basically, it is essentially losing everything. So yeah, that was sad. Definitely sad.
Yeah.
The dude who plays the Clancy Brown too is fucking awesome in this.
Oh, the prison guard, yeah.
Yeah. Clancy Brown, whoever hell, I forgot the guy's name. I've seen him in a million things. So he plays the warden.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that guy isn't a ton of shit.
I don't know his name, but he's one of like, oh, it's that guy kind of actors.
Yeah. Yep.
The movie is so wild, especially because I think I said in another podcast how in high school we read Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a I loved that story. And then when we watched the movie and how actually well they adapted the movie too, because a lot of Stephen King adaptations are like, when they follow them very closely, sometimes they're not very good because Stephen King stories at face value are pretty difficult to adapt. Yeah. But this one was just so it was so good. And I think my favorite part about the entire story is just the ambiguity of whether Andy actually killed his wife or not.
I was gonna mention that too.
You never get that answer. You never definitively know. So it's you're rooting for Andy because he's our protagonist, but at the same time, you don't know if he's just as big of a monster as everyone else in this jail.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, that's crazy. I was gonna mention that earlier, but it's weird because you become so invested in man, I hope he gets out. He seems like such a good guy.
As he's going away in the boat, you're like, wait a minute, did he actually
right?
Was I rooting for this time?
Dude, what a crazy fucking story. They're in him and Morgan Freeman are in jail that long, concocted this plan, met him on hey, drive, there's no Google Maps or any shit like that, and he's has to basically word of mouth tell him to go to that tree to get that box. Then they fucking meet on the beach. That shit was crazy. That
is very Stephen King.
Well, I think I don't know if I'm just remembering it wrong, but I want to say in the book it was just one of them. I think in the book it was just one of them that went to that made it to the beach at the end, unless I'm remembering it wrong. But I think it was just I mean, it's been a while since I've read or seen the movie.
What a downer ending, Stephen King. Friends can't just get on a boat and take off. No.
Bros can't take off on a boat together.
Yeah. Fucking bullshit, Stephen.
God damn it.
I see a movie's coming out based on your masterpiece.
Everything. Well, you can call anything he does a masterpiece and get away with it.
Because it's him.
Yeah, there's a new Graveyard Shift remake coming out.
I don't really know about that. I don't really know if a lot of people are going to be saying Skinwalkers is a masterpiece.
No. Hold on. It's Sleepwalkers.
Sleepwalkers, yeah. Sleepwalkers. Oh, I'm thinking of there's
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Stephen King's Sleepwalkers, where he did a bunch of coke after after he watched that movie, The Cat People, he did a bunch of coke and then wrote a book.
Yeah,
because that movie
It's
is
weird.
that movie is like almost identical to Cat People from like 10
It's
years.
super. It has a super odd mix of being super dull, but at the same time, like super like 90s and random, like the random shit that happens there.
Agreed.
Ron Perlman, fuck that close up of his face when he gets killed. Like how Ron Perlman already has like a Frankenstein like face, so like this close up of it just going like ah.
Every time I see Ron Perlman, the only thing I can think of is he was in that show Beauty and the Beast, like fucking way back in the 80s. And
they didn't even have to give him makeup either.
And his face, his face looks exactly like that. So I feel like he fits in a movie with cat people. Like he's
already part lion.
Well, he was also he was also like the cop or whatever in Desperation too.
Oh
and
yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah,
asshole, like whatever. And I mean, he's kind of a good choice. I don't know.
I like him, dude. I mean, I like him. We're making fun of him, but I like him.
He's a great.
Yeah, but like I think
really
when I read Desperation, and they were like describing the cop and everything, and then I saw Ron Perlman, I was like, maybe I don't know. For some reason, I still didn't really see Ron. I just don't think like he's. I feel like he gives off the impression that he's bigger than he actually is. Like, I don't know why. I just like there's something about him that's like I feel like you're like a big dude, but I also feel like you're not that big. I feel like you're kind of square.
You meet him in real life and he's like 5'9".
Yeah, like I feel like you just have like a rectangular shape and that makes you look bigger than you are.
Listen, they make Tom Cruise look like he's a normal sized man. So Hollywood can do anything. We don't know. Ron Perlman could be 5'5", bro. Like
they're saying that's all short. I'm only 5'7". Like I'm not tall.
Dude, when I think of fucking Tom Cruise, I think of like an energetic little kid running around a movie set. Like that's why he shattered his ankle, like jumping from roof to roof. It's like, come on, guys, director, look what I can do. And he just did it like without any cameras going.
I'm gonna tell you that my favorite Tom Cruise movie in the last 20 years is that Edge of Tomorrow movie.
Oh yeah,
dude, that movie.
that was a great action movie.
Yeah. Other than that, dude, I lost interest in Tom Cruise a long time ago.
All he does anymore are like those Mission Impossible movies, anyway. So.
Yeah, pretty much.
And when he had his public freak out there.
I tried to start I was like, oh, I'm just gonna watch all the Mission Impossible movies. About 10 minutes into the first one, I just went to sleep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're wildly uneven. The John Woo one isn't very good either.
But
yeah. I mean, they're like quality. You know what I mean? Like I can't even tell if they're necessarily good movies or if they're just like really fun like spectacle like movies.
James Bond movies, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, like if you I remember enjoying them, but if you told me right now to tell you the plot of either of or any of like the last few of them, I'd be like, the Hawkeye was in one, or maybe two of them.
Wait,
so it's Superman. Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, that one was actually good. I like that last one.
Also Superman is in one. Fuck.
Oh, Henry Cavill, yeah. For some reason, I kept thinking like Christopher Reeves isn't in. Like, what was Christopher Reeves gonna do in a Mission Impossible movie?
Who are you to
dead for you?
Who are you to tell Christopher Reeves what role he can have? Like, who are you to say?
They just, like they do like this scene where like Tom Cruise is like lowering himself down, but it's just him in the wheelchair, like.
They just wheel his mummified corpse like fucking Mrs. Bates like onto the set. Like
they just do Weekend at Bernie's with
sidebar on this sidebar. If you really like the Mission Impossible movies, there's actually a movie I like that's sort of like them, and it's called Ronin, the movie with Robert De Niro.
Oh yeah,
I thought you were gonna say the
and Al Pacino. Val Kilmer too. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, dude, that movie was like actually really good, and it reminds me a lot of like Mission Impossible, but It's more crime.
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking of Heat there for a second with Val Kilmer.
Heat. Yeah, that's right. That is Heat. Heat, Al Pacino, De Niro, and Val Kilmer. Yeah,
They,
it is.
they came out they came out all around at the same time. So
that French guy from The Professional, John Reno.
John Reno.
Yeah, he's in it.
John Reno sounds like a fucking Las Vegas casino owner. Oh yeah, I'm John Reno. He's like wearing a cowboy hat.
Okay, so all right, back to the movie. We get lost.
Yeah.
My
fun,
favorite thing about this whole movie is the way it's shot as like a period piece. Like obviously this is like the 1950s or whatever.
I think it's,
and they really make it look like that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
it feels like a novel watching it. Not just because it's like narrated, but like I don't know. There's like same thing with the Green Mile, same thing even like with the Mist. I'm like, not to go back to that, but I'm surprised like that, like because obviously Darabont can do a great like Stephen King drama, but with that he did like a straight up like horror monster movie and made it like really really high quality. With this, I'm not saying it's like easy to do like something like this, but like I think it's like a testament to like Darabont's direction and Stephen King's writing that the movie like turned out as perfect as it did. I mean, at the end of the day, it is like whether you like enjoy it or not, or if it's your cup of tea, you gotta like. It's hard to like deny that this is a fucking perfect movie because it basically is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure. All right. Who's second?
Me.
All right.
And my favorite movie of all time is Donnie Darko. I even have a tattoo of Frank and Donnie on my arm. I love it. I'm not going to go too much into it because there's a whole episode of Will It Be a Classic on this channel where Corey and I basically talk about like the legacy of Donnie Darko. Donnie Darko is it's a movie that I saw at a very young age and it just stuck with me. And as I got older, I kept watching it. There was a point in high school where it was literally, I would say at least 3 times a week, I would watch this movie.
God damn.
And like, there was even when I lived in Washington, I worked at this Goodwill outlet and I was really bored one day. And so I just started writing down Donnie Darko quotes and just sticking them all over the store, just waiting for people to find them. And so like,
I was soon fired afterwards.
Oh no. Thankfully I was at a place in this job where I could kind of get away with doing a lot of shit. But yeah, like I remember like I would write down, like Donnie Darko, what is that? Some kind of superhero, and what makes you think I'm not? And just like stuff like that.
That'd be funny. Some lady, dude, some lady comes up to you with a pair of pants. She's like, I'm looking for a price tag on this, but all I can find is this piece of paper that says every living thing dies alone.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just like as we said in the episode that it's like if John Hughes made like a weird sci-fi movie. That's like what Donnie Darko feels like. And
the weirdest thing in that movie to me is the Patrick Swayze subplot. I don't know. I mean,
it's being a pedophile.
It's weird enough to be in the film, but if that film wasn't made that way, then I would be like, this makes no sense being in this movie.
Yeah.
But since the movie is the way it is like it fits.
Yeah. It's, I mean, kind of like how you feel like Shawshank is a perfect movie. I feel like Donnie Darko, specifically the director's cut, I actually feel is like a perfect movie. I know there's like a lot of people who love the theatrical cut. I do think that like the director's cut explains a lot more. and kind of helps you sort of understand. Granted, you will never understand this movie the first time you watch it. That's just never going to happen. But it's.
I mean, that says something about the movie, though, that like, even if, because like you said, nobody really gets this movie the first time they watch it, yet they're like transfixed by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, there's still something that holds your interest. It's not just like the little subplots either. It's
and I mean, also this movie just has one of like my favorite soundtracks of any movie. Like, I love all the Tears for Fears and like Echo and the Bunnyman and like
Everybody wants to rule the world.
Glorious, but I love that song too. Like, I love the entire chorus, and I love how the director's cut, actually the soundtrack is a little bit different, where in the theatrical cut it's Echo and the Bunnyman, and in the director's cut it's Tears for Fears, that very opening shot when Donnie wakes up and is biking back to his house. It's just really like cool little things like that, and it's a movie that the more you watch it, the more little like nuances in the characters you pick up, the more sort of like weird little details, and like even just like the humor, I think it has like this very kind of timeless sort of thing. It's a movie that in the 80s was made in 2001, yet feels completely timeless.
Have you seen the sequel? Is it just as good?
No, the sequel is straight up dude. Like we were talking about Punk's Not Dead last week. Darko makes Punk Not Dead look like the fucking Godfather.
There's some dark alternate universe where Mark's like number 2 was SLC Punk 2. Mine was Darko. It's all this shitty direct video.
His top 5 to include SLC Punk, Punk Is Not Dead, and Donnie Darko 2.
Darko. Yeah, there was a third. I want to say there was a third.
Dumb and Dumber.
I think there was a third.
Son of the Mask.
But I don't. I don't remember. I don't know. I think there was like speculation or something about it, but
okay.
Yeah, but Darko
that movie's good enough. That movie's good enough alone.
Yeah.
Like, when I saw
works as a standalone movie.
When I saw that was coming out, a sequel, I was like, nope. I instantly knew it wasn't going to be good, because you can't really. What are you going to add to the first movie? You don't have to add anything.
Well, the crazy thing, and again, I said this on the episode that Corey and I did, was at face value, if you take this movie completely at face value, everything you're seeing is what's ever happening, then by the end of the movie, the entire movie doesn't happen, technically speaking. Like, when you get to the end of the movie and Donnie Darko time travels and then dies, the entire movie never happened. So Darko is completely irrelevant. It makes no sense to even have that, because the first movie in the timeline of whatever Darko comes out in, Donnie Darko never happened.
Yes.
So like, it's a pointless sequel.
It already makes no sense before they made it.
Yeah.
It's fine. Right.
Are you implying that Darko is a lazy cash-in? That can't be true.
I don't even want to say it's a cash grab, because like Donnie Darko, when it came, Donnie Darko was a flop when it came out by all.
By that time, it had its cult status by that time, though.
Yeah.
Because like you said, but it kind of triumphed its way past its initial release.
Yeah. But so it's like when the movie came out, you were banking on the cult following, similar to like Punk's Not Dead. But the problem is that, again, with SLC Punk and Donnie Darko, those movies work so perfectly as standalone movies. Don't make them part of anything. Don't add anything. Because the problem is, the second you try and add a sequel to a movie like those, you kind of diminish the initial impact of what that original movie had.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Well said.
It's like you said, though, like, even if you don't like completely get it, it does have, because I remember renting it and like watching it like at least 3 times, and by the end I think I had like a vague idea. At least I thought I did. I turned out to be wrong when it got explained in the director's cut years later. Like the million little subplots, the way like the dialogue is great, a lot of the characters are great, whether you love them or hate them. Like you said, like the Patrick Swayze thing, like I might have had that same like initial reaction of, oh, why is this in here? Like, first time watching it, but like when you watch it more, it's like,
if Donnie had never
okay, he's kind of
interacted
like,
with him, like if Donnie had never called him out on his bullshit, I would have agreed with you that I don't really understand Patrick Stewart's place. But the whole point of Patrick Stewart's character, I think, is
Patrick
here's
Swayze.
yeah, Patrick Swayze's character is
Patrick
like
Stewart.
How dare you?
You okay?
he's
Patrick Stewart in that role.
is that Patrick Swayze is like a really shitty person, like passing himself off as like this great hopeful human. And so that scene where Donnie Darko's like, I think you're the fucking Antichrist, and then it kind of turns out that like, yeah, this guy's actually a huge piece of shit. And then it at the end of the movie when Donnie dies and Patrick Stewart is still alive, but he's like crying because it's sort of this thing of, I think it's like when Donnie dies, it kind of shows sort of this weird impact, right, that this person has, whether he was a part of their life or not. And I mean, there's so many different theories and stuff that, like, at the end of the movie, when it's going through all those different people, it's like they kind of feel weirdly affected. Like, they can kind of sense, like, what just happened in that other timeline. And now that Donnie's dead, it's like affecting them in a weird way.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
it's just a mind trip of a movie.
they technically shouldn't remember him at all, but there's like that lingering, like
Yeah,
almost memory of him.
yeah, like Frank and
Um,
Patrick Swayze never met Donnie, but yet when Donnie dies, you have Patrick Stewart. My take is that when Patrick Stewart's crying, he's sort of feeling this sort of guilt. What are you laughing at? I said Patrick Stewart again, Patrick Swayze.
You said it twice.
I know. I've been watching Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness shit on
yeah,
YouTube.
he is your enemy.
So like I just have Patrick Stewart in my brain right now. But
All right.
That
It's
kitty
okay.
porn isn't mine.
You're just laughing because you're like, yes, Swayze, and you made it like you put like a real exclamation point at the end of it the last time you said it because you knew you're gonna fuck up. You're like, Patrick Swayze.
yeah, I know. I can't.
That's somebody else's kitty porn, not mine. That'd be awesome.
But yeah, that's Donnie Darko. It's that I'm sure everyone has at least heard of.
Absolutely.
You should watch it. It's a really good coming of age movie. It's a really good mind fuck movie. It's just a fun movie to watch too. Like
it's a good, well-rounded movie. Also, your second movie in a row that had James Duval as a character in it. I miss that guy. Miss that guy. What were you thinking?
What were you doing in the middle of the road?
What were you doing in the middle of the road? Yes. James Duval talks like Tim Shaw. So.
Oh, I also love how in Donnie Darko they're watching the Evil Dead.
Are you kidding
me? But yeah, there's a nod to the Evil Dead in Donnie Darko, which is really awesome too.
Oh yeah, it's straight up, and that was cool that Sam Raimi let them use that too.
Yeah.
Considering the first number.
Yeah. I heard Bruce Campbell's the post-credit scene on Doctor Strange.
Yeah, dude. Okay, Doctor Strange is getting a lot of hate. I don't know about you guys,
like
but
75%.
I don't know about you guys.
Sorry.
I've watched all of the I've watched all the spoilers, so I know exactly what happens in this movie. And honestly, I'm happy because it's tempered my expectations a lot. Because the things that people are saying about this movie is, if you're an MCU fan, you might not like it. If you're a Sam Raimi fan, you'll like it. Which I'm like, all right.
What if you're a fan of both? What the fuck?
I'm good.
No,
I'm good, man. I'm in.
Because it's not. It doesn't. Because everyone's saying it doesn't feel like an MCU movie. It feels like a Sam Raimi movie. Like everyone's saying like the second half of this movie is like pure horror.
That's fucking. That sounds like the best Marvel movie ever.
All right, so hold on.
What's the problem?
So, hold on. We're gonna end this, and then we're gonna start it right back up. Okay. But yeah. Okay. So
like I was saying, what's wrong? What's the problem here? It's probably the best MCU movie then ever.
Yeah, I don't get that. Like going in, like people are like, "Oh, it's gonna." That's all people have been saying about it for months before its release. Is that, "Oh, dude, it's gonna be a lot more darker. It's gonna be like part Sam Raimi film." And then when it comes out, people are like, "Well, the thing is, this movie is a little bit darker, and it becomes very much a Sam Raimi film." It's like, that was the whole point. Like that's what we've been saying. What like people wanted. It's supposed to kind of like, or that small part of the audience.
This is called the multiverse of madness. You have to really change the tone.
Well,
something different.
From what I'm hearing is that it's there's not a ton of multiverse hopping. They go to a couple different multiverse, like universes or whatever, but they're kind of they're in those places. They don't really jump around. And then I think a lot of people were expecting like cameos galore. Like I think a lot of people were expecting like Deadpool to show up and Tom Cruise's Superior Iron Man to show up and like the X-Men to show up and all this stuff. And it's like, no.
Can I? Because I've heard that too. What exactly is Tom? Because multiple people have said Tom Cruise's Superior Iron Man, and it's like,
well, so back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, before Robert Downey Jr. was cast, there was Tom Cruise was actually going to play Iron Man. He was originally going to be Tony Stark, but then obviously one thing fell to another. Marvel got bought by Disney, all this stuff, and so that obviously went to the wayside. And then RDJ became Iron Man, and so there was all this talk that like because it's the multiverse, now you can bring Tom Cruise's Iron Man actually into the fold, and everyone wanted him to be Superior Iron Man because Superior Iron Man in the comics is like a huge asshole. But yeah, so that's where all the Tom Cruise stuff came because he was originally going to be Iron Man.
Well, okay. That makes sense now.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Like, it's like, all we get is fucking, not to go back to Patrick Stewart, but all we get is Professor X or whatever as a cameo. It's like that's still pretty awesome.
So the fuck what? That means the X-Men are coming, you fucking cunt.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, maybe they are. That's another thing too, though, that I think this movie is a little confusing for some people too, because it's the multiverse. So how much of this is actually going to like fold into the 616 Disney MC universe, and how much is just kind of like that's it? Like Patrick Stewart's not coming back after this. Like he's not going to be Professor X moving forward. He's just a glorified cameo in the movie because he's part of a different universe.
Yeah.
So
they've acknowledged that they've clearly acknowledged that each of their every time they've like made a movie and then rebooted that, like Spider-Man, they've made like 3 different trilogies now. They've made that very clear that those other Spider-Men and villains are from different universes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's crazy.
Well, I don't think it's not that like I think the issue is that like so the other Spider-Men like Andrew Garfield and Peter Parker are like they're a different universe, but now they're also canon. So,
yeah.
So it's like with Patrick Stewart, he's a different universe, but he's not canon, but he kind of is canon because he's part of this separate universe. So it's like so it's this thing of like is he, because now the MCU has introduced variants. So it's like you can either look Spider-Man, you can either look exactly like Tom Holland, or you can look like all these other people, or like in the case of J. Jonah Jameson, you can look like the same person, essentially.
Yeah.
So it's confusing.
Okay,
because
he was Mark.
He was J. Jonah Jameson in the fucking original Spider-Mans, and then he's
now even
he's in the new one, so he
different universe, same character, so
same exact person, it's crazy.
I was gonna say it's okay, Mark. You don't have to lie. They just don't want him back because he's a cripple.
Professor X is always a cripple, though.
Not always.
Christopher Reeves to play Professor X.
That would have been fire.
Hologram Christopher Reeves.
How
get the people who brought Harold Ramis back in Ghostbusters Afterlife?
Oh my god, and they really brought him back. They made a toy out of him. I felt like that was really dirty. That they made a toy of Ghost Harold Ramis.
They're gonna
Bro,
they're gonna bring him back in
how evil could Marvel have been? They could have got Christopher Reeves to play Professor X, and the fucking hidden message in the movie is like, "Hey, we're Marvel. We fucking crippled Superman."
Oh God.
And and like they kill Christopher Reeves as Professor X, but like it's a creature that turns into a horse.
Hey. Let's say the DCU really fell off its horse, didn't it?
Anyway, so Corey, what's your number one favorite movie?
Yeah.
Okay, back on topic. My number one is the 1994 film The Crow, starring Brandon Lee and directed by Alex Proyas. Now, this movie I have a very, very strange initial interaction with. Me, my brother, my sister, we went to a local, it was called the Video Factory at the time. It was back when I lived in Kenmore. It was 94, so I was like 6, I think.
There used to be one fucking like couple blocks from my house in that Mid-City Plaza.
I can't remember exactly where it was. It was like the big one though. It was like the size of I mean, I was a kid, so I was small, but like it seemed like the size of a fucking Kmart basically. What do you call it though? I was excited though because I rented the not classic Leprechaun 2 and was very excited to watch that. And I ended up almost instantly forgetting that movie because we watched this movie afterwards and I was completely transfixed by it. Now, if you've never seen this movie, it has a very basic plot, not necessarily a very original one. On Halloween night, what do you call it? Local band guitarist in Seattle and his fiance both got killed on Devil's Night, aka the night before Halloween, on aka the night that they were supposed to get married. So initially, you don't know like who killed them or whatnot. You know that the guy got tossed out a window and the woman got raped and stabbed to death. As the movie goes on, though, you find out that the guy in the couple, Eric Draven, played by Brandon Lee, he comes back to life 1 year later, and basically becomes a revenge movie from there. It's based on a graphic novel by James Obar. I want to get into why this is my favorite movie. It has the best look of any movie I've seen, and that's just my personal taste. But I fucking love the dark fucking setting of this. I think in a lot of ways it's almost like Sin City in that like vein. It's not black and white, but in a lot of scenes it looks like it might as well be. Brandon Lee in this movie I think is like fucking amongst like easily like the best performances I've ever seen. And also, spoiler alert, most people that even know this more than they know the movie, but he was accidentally killed by a dummy prop gun on stage, or during his actual like death scene. He was shot and killed. What do you call it though? Like if you ever see Brandon Lee's like performances before this movie, not that they're bad, but he was in a string of like pretty directed cable-ish like action movies, not necessarily bad ones like
Showdown in Little Tokyo.
Yeah, like movies like that. Like I don't really mind those movies are fun and all, but they aren't like
they're not like this. They're not
like acting. Yeah, they're not like acting pieces, but I don't know if he was just on his game for this movie or if he was just born to play this role because he's like on a whole different level in this movie. Well, like the whole like
he was very passionate about this movie. Like he was really passionate about the character.
Oh yeah, dude. Like you see those interviews with him, like he's just kind of like chilling, smoking a cigarette in the back, like talking about like the character. And he was became good friends with James O'Barr, the guy who made the comic book. So but he has a very and this is again like we were saying the other day for like the upcoming remake. Why I think Alexander Skarsgård?
Yeah,
Bill Skarsgård. Okay, Bill Skarsgård. But no, why he would probably be like a good follow up to it is because I mean, don't get me wrong, he's Bruce Lee's son, so he is like very like cut in this movie and whatnot, but he's never for 1 second some over the top action hero. He's very much just like some regular ass dude who fucking,
He's very
Yeah.
he's more like theatrical than he is like just like
yeah,
a, ready to
he's
fight.
very like poetic.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know,
yeah.
doesn't it's not very macho at all.
No.
But
I enjoy Eric Draven's dark humor.
Oh yeah.
Before he
very
kills somebody.
Mhm.
yeah. Is that gasoline I smell?
The scene where he like breaks into like that like meeting of like bad guys or whatever and just is like jumping on the table and shit and like fucking with them is one of my favorite
I
scenes.
love that. Dude, I love that scene too. The cops burst in. They're like, "Put your hands up." He's like you said, he has kind of a twisted sense of humor. He puts his hands up, and then he just like kind of goes like, like trances away. That shit's funny. But no, like again, this is like another one of those movies. All the performances all around are fucking awesome. The 4 people that we find out murdered him and his fiance are like just a local street gang, but they're led by uh a crime boss named Top Dollar, played by Michael Wincott, who's also fucking excellent in this movie.
He's
Tony
also
Todd.
he's also like a big king of direct to video action movies. Michael Wincott, or is that Jeff Wincott?
Oh no, Michael Wincott's the dude with like in this he has like the long pirate hair and the raspy voice. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Feeling like a little worm on a big fucking hook. But no, no, I really do like this movie because I think it kind of encapsulates like what a great movie should be in terms of like it gets everything. It's a great revenge movie, great drama, great even like as a comic book movie. It's fucking I think pretty ahead of its time. So it came out a couple years after, or not a couple years. It came out like 4 years after Batman did, but it has like a very similar darkness to it.
Mhm.
I mean, it's
and
got
again,
him playing an electric guitar on top of the rooftop in the misty Seattle sky.
yeah, I mean, like scenes like that, like they're shot like awesomely.
Oh, it's
Like
beautiful.
at the
Yeah.
time, I think I'm pretty sure Alex Proyas, the director, like a lot of directors, he went from directing music videos, and then like immediately this became like his first like big project.
That's every director of a fucking horror franchise reboot.
Took the Russell McKay approach. But yeah, dude, like again, this movie just again, I'm hard to like to press or argue with like anybody who's like, well, I didn't personally like this movie. It's like, well, there's not really anything I can do to change your opinion on that, but this movie definitely hit me at the perfect time. I've seen it so many times. I've seen all the scenes that they deleted from this movie, and I think this is like one of the few movies like everything they deleted like kind of made it perfect for me. Like they took out a whole subplot with Michael Berryman from The Hills Have Eyes playing like a skull cowboy that like kind of guides him and teaches him about his powers, which that probably wouldn't have been for the best. Like they cut out like a fight scene between him and the character Fun Boy. Chris finds that hilarious.
I'm just picturing Michael Berryman showing this motherfucker the ropes, dude. I'm dying.
Michael Berry, hey, you're the crow now.
and then you eat people.
You're not gonna eat your fiance, are you? Waste not, want not. Are you gonna stop chewing on my fiance's corpse long enough to teach me how to fight?
But I'm trying to get revenge here. You're making me angry.
Oh god. But no, they deleted like a handful of scenes, but the way this movie flows for me is perfect too. So everything they cut out, and there's definitely a few scenes like it's been pointed out, like, or I've like looked at videos that show like when it's just like Brandon Lee's face kind of like imposed onto a stunt double basically, which is kind of seamless in this movie. How often it happens, and like how often like you can't really tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for me, that it just kind of like rolls perfectly. For me, it's like the perfect like not just a comic movie, like the perfect like adult comic movie, but like you know, perfect movie for me. You know, it's kind of like my, you know, you go to a desert island and you can only bring one song with you. This is kind of, you know.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So that is my number one with a bullet.
Have you seen the Crow sequels? Like, did you watch those?
Oh, I wanted to get into that. They range between pretty bad and pretty fucking awful.
I feel really bad for whoever. I think it was the second one. The guy who,
City of Angels.
yeah,
I know everything. It's sad, but I know I joke, but I know everything about the sequels too.
yeah,
Unfortunately.
but like he wanted, like I feel bad for like the director and the writer because he wanted to make such a different story than
Yeah.
what actually happened. Like it became just another Crow. It became just almost like a
That,
carbon copy of the first
the
movie.
story that they wanted, or that they initially wanted for part two, that would have been a lot dark. It would have been interesting for real, and that does suck that they didn't get to tell it. But it still would have been a very divisive movie.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I mean just
one thing I
because.
really
Yeah.
didn't, one thing I don't like about the sequel is the casting of like the new Crow. They
That's
use
fine.
a French actor named Vincent Perez.
Like I didn't mind him.
Um,
I thought he was okay, and I liked
he's
like I loved the plot with him and his son and everything like that. Like I thought that was super
You
interesting. But yeah,
he
I
has
you
didn't.
he
mean
has very
guys? You mean to tell me that Edward Furlong is not your favorite Crow?
okay. You got me. Brandon Lee's got nothing on him. I'm the Crow. Give me. I'll be I'll be in the can for 20 minutes, bro. I'll be good. What do you call it? No, like no, I'm not like trying to like shit too much on like the guy who plays the Crow in part two. It's just like he comes at it with kind of like transvestite energy, like, hello, I'm the Crow. You know what I mean? Like it's um it's not that he's like necessarily back. There are like a few scenes in that
And
movie where it's
canceled.
like
Thanks, man. They're gonna dig through
my
the
screen just
archives.
goes my screen just goes gray and it just says cancel.
Way to go, man! When we get famous and they dig back into the files, they're gonna see this and we're gonna be fucked. All our money's gone.
Like, oh man, Corey doesn't like the Crow sequel because he looks like a transvestite.
Corey McIndoe issues formal apology to Vincent Perez.
I apologize for what I said about this shitty Crow sequel. I have no problem with transvestites. Just when they try to be the Crow.
Vincent Perez is gonna tackle me coming out of work like Dave Chappelle got tackled.
Dude.
Oh my god, dude! That I mean, again, like I'm not trying to like shit on the guy because there are a lot of aspects of the movie that I do like, and I've seen that one like more than a few times. Like Iggy Pop, I think is all the villains in that movie are on like fucking PCP or
They
something.
all bring
Yeah.
transvestite energy.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, they do.
They all
I mean,
do.
I
they
think
all got that.
that's
They all
I
got
think that's
that
a
transvestite
choice.
in them.
You know,
They all got that transvestite in them. It's crazy.
Oh my god.
The third Crow movie, that's actually got an impressive cast. It's got like Kirsten Dunst, Walton Goggins.
Which one's the one that has Tara Reid?
The fourth one, the worst one.
Yeah, that one's dog.
The fourth one, the
Dude,
worst
the
one.
fourth one.
That one's dog.
It's
The one with Tara Reid is fucking terrible.
uh,
She was
I've seen a lot of
doing
movies.
so much coke
How
when
about,
the movie came out.
how about
dude,
that?
this is how weird.
How about
This
that
is how
Alone in the
weird.
Dark movie? How about that Alone in the Dark movie?
Oh God.
I
Oh,
like
that had,
I like My
that had
Boss's
Tara
Daughter
Reid.
and American Pie, and that's really the only two Tara Reid
Yeah,
movies I like.
yeah. Sadly, yes.
I play the evil sorceress in this movie.
Well, she's good in Scrubs too. She's good in Scrubs. I'll give that to her also.
Yeah.
I get to make out with Angel from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Look at me. I'm a leading lady. Right next to Ian Ziering from 90210. We're in Sharknado.
I can get us Edward Furlong for the next one. What do you call it? Dude, that movie is so weird because it's Ed Furlong playing the Crow and David Boreanaz playing the main villain. It's like the villain's supposed to be a shady scumbag and like the Crow's supposed to be like a suave like fucking action hero, and they like have the roles in like the wrong, like the worst like role reversal ever.
Well, guys, that was all our number ones plus some extras.
Yeah.
If I watched this podcast, I would watch specifically for the extras because we go on a lot of tangents.
We really
it makes it fun though.
Dude,
I like
when I go to movie YouTube channels and they don't talk about transvestites, I get so upset. That's what I go.
I agree. I agree. I need more. I need more
transvestite energy.
It's okay. I need more information. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's
trying
just
to spread awareness. Spreading awareness.
Yeah.
It's just funny because like now try to rewatch that movie and not to think about that now.
I'm definitely gonna be assuming that guy's tucking something every scene he's in.
Well, dude, he's like that scene where he's like playing the card game with Sick Boy or whatever, not Sick Boy, fucking Nemo or whatever the hell his name is, and he's like he pulls the wrong card. He's like, Lady Luck, she's a bitch. Let me put my high heels back on.
We're fucked. We are fucked.
We're gonna cut all this out, right?
No,
they're gonna give us. We're gonna get big, and we're gonna get like $500,000 fucking sponsorship, and it's gonna be. They're gonna put it. It's gonna hit our bank accounts, and then we're gonna be like fucking almost having heart attacks, and then you go to spend a couple bucks, and you find out they took it back out because they saw this fucking episode.
It's just me. See, it's like just me on CNN, like that clip of me like doing a Vincent Perez impression.
This is just me angry. Like, really, 4Hims wouldn't still sponsor us? It's 4Hims. They're selling products for erectile dysfunction.
Raycon, please, you were the last one.
Yeah, come on, Manscaped.
Yeah.
What about Raid Shadow Legends? They literally sponsor everyone.
Yo, ExpressVPN, please.
Hey guys, get act now. Use this code. Use code transvestite10 and you get 20% off your order at raycon.com.
Tran10.
Tran10. Gross. We're fucked. Please take us out of the city. Bye, everyone. See you next time.